The Audio Beacon, September 2021. The Power of Silence. A Vigil for the People of Afghanistan. The light fades from St Mary's Church, Kintbury, at the close of a 2-hour silent vigil held in the evening of Monday 23rd of August, 1 week and 1 day after the Taliban entered Kabul. There is a picture of a table in Kintbury St Mary's Church with a basket full of smaller candles and a larger candle to light them from, with a tray of small lit candles in front. During the 2 hours, around 20 parishioners, from teenagers to pensioners, came in ones and twos into the church, lit a candle and sat for a while in silence before slipping quietly out. Jenny Vasey, LLM. The Cedars, Enbourne, by the countrymen of Enbourne. The now isolated dwelling that sits in Enbourne Street at the foot of Bell Hill may well have been a thriving farm in the days of the Victorians. According to a tithe map of the 1890s, the Cedars was shown as a farm with a modest acreage around it and under the ownership of Enbourne Lodge Estate. Between Wheatland Lane and Enbourne Street, going westwards, most of the land, houses and cottages, as far as Bohmes Lane, were the property of the Lodge Estate. Fields adjoining what was to become the Newbury to Winchester railway line were, almost certain, to have been part of the Cedars farmland at that time, with probably a couple of fields next to Bell Hill as well. There were 2 or 3 derelict outbuildings at the rear of the house until modern times that were used for farming, some now turned into dwellings. Probably some old directories, acting as reference books, will give the names of early residents at the Cedars. Soon after the Great War, a gentleman called H.J. Phillips, a retired army captain, was resident there, using it as a small holding, followed by Cole C. Fowler, a retired admiral. By this time, the agricultural side of the property had disappeared, and, with hindsight, it is doubtful if a tractor had ever been used on the land there. Probably the admiral, who died in 1936, had relinquished his hold on the fields next to the railway, and those going up to Bell Hill to farmer Willie Heath at Bohmes Farm. When the 2 cedar trees arrived at the front of the house is certainly open to debate. No local people seem to know how old the house is there, or whether the special trees predated the Victorian era, despite several other notable properties in a 10-mile radius having had such trees for 2 or more centuries. Their presence was certainly widely known in the Fowlers' time at the property. Widow Inez Fowler was a regular letter writer, and at the top of each letter sent was a small pen and ink caricature of 2 cedar trees. It seems that in her time there she addressed the house as 2 Cedars rather than the Cedars, but no one knew why. Following her demise in the mid-1950s, the house saw its most celebrated owner so far, when Basil Jones and his family arrived. Welsh-born and a small-time actor, his name came to the forefront in 1953 when he took on the role of John Tregoran in the long-running serial The Archers. Early days saw him tilting his hat at Carol Gray, the local market gardener in the village, and his character blossomed from there. He and his family lived at the Cedars as a private residential home for some years. Appointed chairman of Enbourne and Hampstead Marshall Flower Show, he helped to enlarge it to such a big order that it was about the biggest show in the district. With his influence, he was able to bring several Archers actors to come and open the annual show. Quite a draw. Some years on, Basil left the cast, and he and his wife decided to turn the Cedars into a private dining club. With his wife, a highly proficient cook, a successful business was established, and they ran it for some time. Eventually selling the property, the Cedars has now gone back to being a private residence once more. The Cedars and its association with such stately trees has always seemed to have a tranquil and peaceful air about it. Now, with good long-range views from it, and despite its nearness to the Newbury bypass, the house and gardens still give out a grandeur of the former days of glory. Out of the mouths of babes, well, a toddler in fact. There is an atmospheric photo of a rainbow against a foreboding grey sky. So, I was walking back from the Kintbury doctor's surgery the other week when the far-off voice of an unseen child exclaimed, "A rainbow!" I carried on my way, but as I looked into the sky, there it was, and here it is above. And during the light shower that preceded it, I nearly didn't mind being wetter than I normally am in exchange for this amazing sight. Just another summer. I am writing this on a grey, cool, mid-August day for September publication. Perhaps we shall be enjoying an Indian summer as you read this, or perhaps not. When I was writing the ministry letter for July, mid-June, it was all to play for, all to strive for, in the football, Wimbledon, the Olympics, and various test matches. And now, there will be many post-mortems taking place in top-level sport for months to come. Scrutiny of film footage, review of tactics, thoughts around training, team selection, track and equipment technology, etc., etc. We've shared moments of hope, moments of glory, moments of despair and anguish with our teams and sporting representatives, and perhaps some moments of shame also, over what we have seen on our news screens of crowd behaviour, online trolling and abuse of individual players and athletes. We've seen youngsters earning their places in the history books, and best of all, in the words of Emma Raducanu, at 18, the youngest British woman to reach the last 16 of the championships. Having such a blast just being here. I feel like I'm on holiday. Before the tournament, her parents had said to her, "Aren't you packing too many sets of match kit?" Well, she wasn't. "I think I'm going to do some laundry tonight." Who didn't warm to the combination of total rapt focus and sheer exuberance on 13-year-old Sky Brown's face on that final run? Her dream? "I have so many dreams," she says, "but my main one now is to go to underprivileged places and teach kids to skate, because I feel like skateboarding and other sports helps people who are struggling." We've seen Olympic officials making tough moral and political decisions over the forced return of an athlete to a totalitarian state. We've seen high jumpers Tambero from Italy and Barshim for Qatar reach a split-second, almost wordless decision to share gold rather than continue a jump-off, with these heartfelt words from Barshim afterwards. Humanity, solidarity, unity. It's just like peace coming all together. This is beyond sport. This is a true message. And all being played out against a background of record heat waves and temperatures across the world. Some of the worst wildfires ever seen. Devastating floods, earthquakes, and mudslides, all of which have claimed lives, homes, livelihoods, and whole communities. The pandemic continues to wane and wax and evolve its own vaccine-evading strategies in different areas around the globe, sometimes making headlines, sometimes not, and always with governments and scientists in hot pursuit. And meantime, inexorably it seems, the Taliban continue to advance in Afghanistan, stripping away the hard-won advances towards democracy made in the last 20 years by the government there. I paused my writing on that mid-August day, leaving it to be completed in time for Heather's deadline. And, just over a week later, coming back to finish it off, what can I say? What can I say? The commentary on events in Afghanistan is pouring out on screen, in print, in parliaments, and will continue to do so until everything has been said and resaid over and over again. I met a neighbour, both out walking with our dogs, who said, "I suppose you're praying about Afghanistan." Well, yes. What else, at the moment, can we do? Jenny. Lindchester Chronicles, I have long been a great fan of the novels of Trollope, especially the Barchester set. I have also spent 10 years working for the Oxford Diocese in and out of Church House. It is therefore with great delight that I came upon the Lindchester novels of Catherine Fox. As one critic writes, cathedral politics and a set of profound insights into the contemporary Anglican communion. The latest one, Tales from Linford, is particularly relevant as it covers the year 2020. Perhaps not to everyone's taste, but provides some humour and some insights into the fallible church we all know and love. Thinks, I wonder if I could write up some of the experiences I have had in Oxford. Perhaps not. Penelope Fletcher. Coffee morning. Forever an optimist, I am hopeful the bi-monthly coffee mornings at the Barn Enbourne will resume this month. All are welcome to the coffee morning on Saturday the 25th of September, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. With much needed fine sunny weather, this will give us the chance to meet outside as well as in, and give a warm welcome to the pilgrim walkers of St George's and St John's. Roger Pope. Can you identify your church from these descriptions from 1939? A For Fun mini quiz by Tessa Locke. Arthur Mee's The King's England is a series of guidebooks to each English county, originally published just before the Second World War. The countryside has seen many changes in the 80 years since the series first appeared. But can you identify the churches in our benefice from the extract below? A. The Wansdyke ends here and the Enbourne begins. A fine arched timber roof runs from east to west with two angels looking down from it into the nave. B. Two avenues of limes make a cross in the churchyard, and the church itself is a cross with a massive tower at the west. A brass of 1624 shows old John Gunter, who lived in 5 reigns. C. The great house was burned down a little over half a century, and only the gateposts are left. Much of it was refashioned about 300 years ago, but it has kept windows and an arcade from medieval times. D. It has an abiding charm, helped by the light of windows whose only pictures are views over the lovely valley and away to the hills. The nave and its 2 arcades are Norman, with some fine capitals. E. Gorse gilds its common, and through a gap in the trees we see the great house designed by Inigo Jones. It has a striking Burne-Jones window. F. Close to the rush of the Bath Road, yet so secluded that it might be miles from anywhere. Nowhere in Berkshire is there a better Norman church or one less spoiled. G. The tiny church, raising its new shingled belfry in competition with an ancient yew, is mostly 13th century, with a font which may be 500 years old. Answers at the end of this recording. Good luck! Walbury Beacon Benefice contact details. Reverend Tim Wood, email revtimothywood@gmail.com. Jenny Veazey, email jennyveazey@hotmail.com. Benefice Office 01635 226 064. Email wbboffice@gmail.com. Items for the beacon to fill on pji@crestednewtcomputing.co.uk. Services in Walbury Beacon Benefice for September 2021. Services are subject to change. Please check with our website or church near you for confirmation of services near the day. All our services are subject to the current government restrictions and will require social distancing, wearing of face masks, etc. Sunday, 5th of September. Enbourne, Benefice service, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 8:30 a.m. Sunday, 12th of September. Kintbury, Morning Prayer, 9:45 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. West Woody, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Sunday, 19th of September. Coombe, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen, Compline, 4 p.m. Kintbury, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Sunday, 26th of September. West Woody, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Kintbury, Holy Communion, 8 a.m. Also, Jenny writes, we are hoping to arrange an Avington Harvest Festival evensong in September. Details are not available at the time of publication. Can you identify your church? Answers: A. Inkpen, B. Kintbury, C. Hampstead Marshall, D. Enbourne, E. West Woody, F. Avington, G. Coombe.